Self-storage is big business and the answer to our overcrowded homes.
We had her cremated and the vet put her in here.
But some have taken their storage hoarding too far.
How far does it go back?
As we thought, it is actually a load of rubbish.
Hanging on to things they don't see or need.
This is my life in a box, isn't it?
And it's costing them a fortune.
He's spent about £80,000 in total.
What are you smiling about?
I'm Maggie Mackenzie and I'm an expert in clearing junk and people's excess baggage.
Are you serious? That's the skip pile.
I'll be asking storage hoarders to unlock the doors of their units, empty out their stash,
What are we talking? Hundreds of thousands.
and choose to either keep it,
I'm feeling a little emotional.
skip it, or sell it. Our antiques expert will then pull out any hidden gems.
They didn't think it was worth anything.
You've got a minimum of £4,000 to £5,000 in the silver.
To take to auction.
Yes, that's what I like to see, ma'am.
And make some hard cash. In today's show, we meet two very different storage hoarders. One believes his stuff is priceless,
It was hand-painted by one of the Ming emperors.
while the other is paying a fortune to store his tools.
These are man drawers filled with important things.
It's time for these hidden heirlooms to justify their existence or be consigned to history.
On the skip, thank you.
Ben, this is all rubbish.
Will any of these hoarders have any hidden treasures?
I'm straight in at £190.
Well, that's a good start, isn't it?
Welcome to Storage Hoarders.
I'm in Somerset to meet two compulsive hoarders who just can't let go. Well, that's what they think. I'll be helping to set them free of their stored stash as they decide to keep it, skip it, or sell it.
Our first storage hoarder is Sir Ben Slade with his housekeeping assistant Sherelle Armstrong. His storage habit has cost him over £5,000 in just the last 2 years. So how has he got himself into this state?
I'll buy anything that a Labrador can be sick on, or it's so heavy you can't put it in your pocket. That is my qualifications, and that's why I've managed to collect so much rubbish, really.
The 66-year-old Knight of the Realm lives near Bridgewater in Somerset in a 13th century manor house. Sir Ben has turned his home from a crumbling wreck into a country house and business. However, the people who work for him are getting frustrated by his hoarding habits.
He's always coming in with random stuff and he'll come into the bar with a new gun and be like, right, we need to find somewhere to hang this. Ben, we've got 90 guns in the bar, it's really full, we haven't got any space for it. No, there's always space, there's always space.
When the next war comes along, we've got to have the kit. We're going to be ready to take them on.
Auction addict Sir Ben has packed out his home with paintings, sculptures and stuffed animals. There are no spaces on his walls, but that doesn't stop him from adding to his collection. But it's also becoming a drain on his resources and the house can't pay its way.
The heating bill's £40,000 a year, which the electricity bill is about £2,000 a month. So actually we have to do as much business as possible. And then I've got to do these improvements. So I need cash, cash, cash.
In a desperate attempt to make his country pile pay for itself, Sir Ben offers it as a venue for hire. But some of his ideas for accommodating his guests are a little off the wall.
This is my old bathroom. And I've had a lot of fun in this bath, usually with a female guest.
Ben has to be one of the most eccentric people I've ever met. He's just crazy.
This house is full to the brim. With every nook and cranny jam-packed with stuff, the overspill ends up in storage. But that doesn't stop Sir Ben buying more, and his purchasing methods leave a lot to be desired.
I like leaving ridiculously low bids for things, and I end up with all this junk, and I don't know where to put it.
There'd be a broken chair and he'd be like, no, that can definitely be mended, that can definitely be mended.
That's why I need help. I'm in a desperate state.
Some of Sir Ben's auction visits have produced items that vary between the bizarre to the frankly outlandish.
This has been going on for years and years and years, and someone needs to kick him into shape.
Can I persuade this eccentric stick in the mud to get rid of his mountain of clutter and save the cash he needs?
So tell me, how long have you had the unit here?
I think about 10 years.
10 years. And what do you have in it?
I've got the odd gun, cannon, musket, painting, desk, lights, don't know, carpets. I'm not too sure. I don't like to look.
So, Sherelle, how do you see your role here today?
We're going to try and get rid of some stuff, and he doesn't need everything.
No.
He thinks he does.
Yes, but he doesn't, no. Are we all committed to this?
Yes.
Ben, I'm looking at you.
I'm committed to it, yes.
Yes? Do you think he is?
He's going to have to be.
You and me versus Ben. OK?
I have a feeling this might be a bit of a challenge. Our next hoarder, Steve Tomaseski, has spent over £7,000 on storage over the past 5 years, and his fiancée, Antonia, wants her life back and the junk gone.
My family and friends know me as a squirrel, which I guess is a term for someone that hoards stuff that is absolutely rubbish.
Steve and Antonia also live in Bridgewater with their 2 children. From the outset, Antonia was smitten with Steve, but his hoarding tendencies were clear to see even on their very first date.
He did say something to me when we first started seeing each other, which was, I bet you've never been out with a man with 5 potato mashers before. And I had to admit I hadn't.
However, we were never short of things to mash potatoes with, so there's always a positive.
Photographer Antonia is desperate to declutter their life. Even the garage has fallen victim to Steve's hoarding obsession, and she would love to turn the space into a photographic studio.
But if all that was clear, that's a massive space. The background could be up in there. We could have the studio. Every time someone asked me for portraits, we could just have them come in and have their picture taken.
Where would the bikes go? And the trailers? And the spare microwave?
Steve's hoarding ways are affecting the family. With Antonia expecting their 3rd child, she wants him to man up about his problem and sort it out. Unfortunately, he doesn't think it's a problem at all.
I do tend to dig my heels in, and my stubborn streak comes through, and I'll do it in my good time, and the fact that you don't perceive any value in those items doesn't mean that they have no value or they're not valuable to me.
I would like for us to be able to go on honeymoon, and perhaps take the children with us as well. And we're also having another baby next year, so we need to change my car. We need to get a bigger car.
Steve can't bear to let things go. However, for the sake of his family, he is prepared to face up to his collecting bug.
The goal of the process has to be to empty the unit and realise the monthly saving that not having a storage unit could be. It's an admirable goal. Will it be achieved? I don't know.
Will I be able to persuade Steve that his multiple purchases have no place in his future life as a married man?
So, how much you spend on your storage unit every month?
Do you know what? I don't know.
You don't know. Do you know, Steve? You must know.
I think it's around £120 or £130, but it's direct debit, so it just happens.
And you've had this unit for how long?
Well, here, about 5 years, but storage in total for 7 years.
So...
Nearly 8.
Right. So, you've spent thousands of pounds over the years on storage. Are you thinking of getting rid of the unit now? Is that the plan? Or...?
Get rid, downsize, certainly evaluate what's in there and refresh my mind as to why I'm keeping these things.
Well, there's a start. I think we're at the bottom of a very steep mountain, but at least we're at the bottom of it.
But I have a spare pair of walking boots, so we'll get up the mountain.
We've met our 2 hoarders. Now it's time to unearth the secrets they've stashed away. Coming up, Sir Ben hears some home truths from Sherelle.
That is very ridiculous. And you wonder why you're wasting so much money?
While Steve finds it too difficult to let go.
I've kept them this long, so I'm afraid they're going to be kept.
Why?
Why?
And Sir Ben confronts his auction demons.
May I congratulate you, Ben?
No, I'm very glad
Welcome back to Storage Hoarders. Today, I'm on a mission to help relieve 2 compulsive hoarders of their unnecessary stash and make some cash.
Earlier, we met Sir Ben Slade, whose eccentric lifestyle and numerous auction visits have generated vast amounts of paraphernalia at his stately home. Setting a worse example is Steve. He's someone who just can't let go of anything. It's driving his fiancée Antonia mad, and she wants a clear out. Later, our antiques expert will take a stroll through their storage sell piles and pick out any choice items that could make some cash at auction. First to confront his problem is Sir Ben. He's about to open his unit for the first time in months and he really doesn't know what's in there.
Oh my God. What a load of old junk.
What on earth?
It looks like a tip, doesn't it?
Oh, look! A cannon!
Yeah.
Sir Ben's unit is full, floor to ceiling, with years' worth of assorted antique weaponry, lots of furniture and the odd garden sculpture.
I haven't seen that for years.
Do you think it's valuable?
I think it's hundreds of years old. It must be worth a few quid.
And that's not all. Some of it is just plain strange.
That is very ridiculous.
Well,
And you wonder why you're wasting so much money.
Time for me to step in and show Sir Ben the error of his ways.
Hello. Oh my goodness me! Don't see too many of these. Can we get everything out to have a look? How do we do this?
Like we used to do when we were on the boat.
That's extraordinary. I love the little vehicle that it goes along in. How long have you had it for?
Well, I don't know. You see, we built a boat, the Victory, and then this thing is a sort of replica of, I think it was off the French ships that they captured or something. I don't know.
Do you know how old it is?
Haven't got the foggiest, no.
Let's get everything out.
I want Sir Ben to start peeling back the layers of time.
Oh my God, careful. You could start World War III with this lot.
So we can unearth any hidden treasures, and it looks like he might have a few.
Wow, this looks very, very old to me. I think we'll put some bubble wrap around this. Oh, do you know anything about this?
Don't know.
It looks really special.
Oh, I remember. It's coming back to me now.
Tell
He
me.
was hand-painted by one of the Ming emperors.
Ming painting.
We'll find out what that's worth later. They're on the right track,
Another cannon.
Another cannon.
so I'll leave them to it. Next to confront his storing habit is Steve. For Antonia, it's her first exposure to the extent of his storage hoarding behaviour.
So this is it. What's in these boxes?
Don't know, they're quite exciting. That apparently has fragile lounge things in it.
Lounge in it.
The unit is full of Steve's passion for collecting anything and everything he thinks might be useful one day. From bits of old wood, power tools, car jacks and boxes of who knows what. This is everything Steve has and it's time to sort it all out.
What's in there?
Ah, these are old toys.
Okay.
Look, what more could you want? An old train transformer. Some old empty boxes, because they're important to keep.
How could you hide that away?
It's a pipe rack.
And how many pipes do you have?
None. I don't think.
Oh, Steve, come on.
I share Antonia's frustration.
Your first drum lessons video?
There doesn't seem to be anything worth keeping and it's costing Steve over £100 a month to store.
It's just treasure. I can't believe you guys want to get rid of this.
This is one tough storage hoarder who just won't let go. I think Antonia's going to need all my help.
Oh, look.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
Oh, there's a lot of boxes in here, aren't there?
Yeah, there are, look. Say everyone needs magic roundabout charity lapel pins.
Are you impressed?
Absolutely.
And a spare radiator roller
Yes, that's rock hard.
to go with the 4 or 5 that are at home.
This is ridiculous. Steve is in his own little hoarding world while Antonia looks on helplessly.
Steve, what are you thinking about all these T-shirts?
I
They
don't
could go,
know.
couldn't they?
I don't know, they all represent...
Yeah,
You know,
your past.
Absolutely.
Yes, but T-shirts.
And my past has made me what I am.
Yeah, a hoarder. That's a scary thing.
These are used
Moving swiftly on. He's ignored my
I know,
question,
I
hasn't
know.
he?
It's the easiest way.
But this is what's been happening all these years, ignoring all this stuff and just paying out every month.
I feel my advice is falling on deaf ears.
I think it's great. I think I've got so much cool stuff. Oh, it's got some old rabbit food in it.
Steve is making this very difficult. So to help our hoarders prioritise which of their possessions they can't live without, I'm asking them to separate it all into piles. I want them to skip anything that's no more use to anyone, keep the things they really can't be without, or sell anything that could generate them some cash. I've also thrown in a charity bin. It's now time to get tough with their stuff. They have just 3 hours to get all their things out and sort through, and I'm giving them a little bit of help. Ben's pile is an eclectic mix that wouldn't look out of place on a film set. While Steve's pile, to be honest, looks like a job lot of spares.
What's in there?
There's a corner cabinet.
Do you not think we've got enough of these at Mortsel?
And it could go in the corner, couldn't it?
Ben just wants to keep everything.
We're not going to get rid of anything at this rate, are we?
Well, yeah, we are. We're working on it.
Ben, this is all rubbish.
Sherelle is dead right.
Burn this, Ben.
But Antonia is having a much worse time with Steve.
I don't even know what that's for.
Goes in a fish tank. Ben.
Oh, but we haven't got a fish tank.
Somebody has.
His keep pile is just getting bigger and he's not throwing anything away. In contrast, eccentric Sir Ben seems to be mending his hoarding ways.
It's all rubbish.
It's all rubbish. That is definitely something we can sell.
Sell, yeah.
Fantastic, we've got one thing.
I might unload some of these cannons. Here we are, sell this.
We're on a roll. We're getting somewhere, we're getting somewhere.
They're doing well, and something has caught my eye amongst Sir Ben's acres of furniture and bric-a-brac.
Now tell me about these paintings.
This is the boat called Valhalla, which is a motor steam yacht, very famous, built in 1892, but it's quite valuable, I think.
OK,
so it's got to go. It's
yes,
got to go.
Fine. So they've all got to go.
Yeah.
And it's not just the paintings that's grabbed my attention.
Guitar. Oh my goodness, that is beautiful. So what's the story behind the guitar then?
I went to one of these charities run by Elton John, and it was being televised, and everybody had too much to drink, and I was trying to buy something else, and somebody said that was worth $8,000, and it was about £2,500, and so I was bidding and had a few drinks, and unfortunately I ended up with it, and I can't even play the guitar.
Oh my
And I can't
goodness.
leave it lying around the house, otherwise everybody would break it, and it's very valuable apparently. And it's Mark Knopfler's guitar, Dire Straits chap.
Is that his signature there?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness me.
This could be a real find, but I think it needs a specialist eye. So I've sent Sir Ben and Sherelle to Paul Fraser Collectibles in Bristol. I'm hoping their expert, Kylie Whitehead, will be able to put a price on this musical find.
So we've got a Fender Stratocaster. It's a Mark Knopfler Stratocaster. So it's built on the specifications that Mark Knopfler preferred, which is excellent for anyone who wants to play guitar like Mark Knopfler. I mean, it looks to be in really good condition. All the paint's looking great. The signature's really clear. But the best thing about this is the fact that it's a Mark Knopfler Stratocaster. These sell online, sort of brand new on an internet auction site for about £900. So we add the value of the signature to the guitar. We're probably looking at £1,000 plus at auction for this particular signed guitar.
£1,000 is a good amount, but if Sir Ben had proof that Mark Knopfler had played it, then it would be worth even more. Eric Clapton's favourite Stratocaster guitar, Blackie, sold at auction for almost $1 million. Is Sir Ben's in the same league?
So, do you know if Mark ever played the guitar?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he did, yeah, I did actually, and he rang me up and he said he wanted it back, and he paid a lot of money for it, I think.
And you would need to have some provenance to say this, so you'd need perhaps a letter from Mark would be ideal. The real value is when somebody's used something or it's got a real personal connection, something like this. If you wanted to shift it now, auction would probably be your best bet. And make sure it's the right auction house as well. If you're taking it to your local antiques auction, you might not find a buyer for it, but if you're taking it to a music memorabilia auction, they're going to have a list of clients who are going to be interested in this kind of thing.
Right, that's what we do. Oh, now I've only got to get rid of a few paintings and cannons, right.
If the guitar is the real deal, it looks like Sir Ben will need the documentation as proof if he wants to increase its value.
Very disappointing. In actual fact, I thought that it was going to be worth about $8,000, and obviously I've got to go away and find some more provenance, haven't I?
If you've got a photograph or a letter to prove that your item is genuine, keep hold of that, because that's really going to add value and it's really, really important.
So the guitar won't go to auction. What a shame. Back at the storage unit, die-hard hoarder Steve is still finding it difficult to decide what to skip.
When did you last use that workbench?
7 years ago.
7 years ago.
But it's beautiful. These are man drawers filled with important things. It's a collection of cupboard hinges, but a man can never have enough screws.
I think Antonia is feeling the stress. Steve needs to wipe that grin off his face and take this seriously.
Right, what's in here then?
It's a complete collection.
Oh yes, of?
Insight magazine. When I was little, I used to have a magazine my nan would buy me called Look and Learn.
Oh yeah, I remember Look and Learn.
Look and Learn. And then I grew out of Look and Learn, and this magazine came out, which was all about exciting new technology.
Yes.
And I kept them all, and I've kept them this long, so I'm afraid they're going to be kept.
Why?
Why? Because my children are, well, one of them is learning to read.
Yes.
And it's a fascinating history lesson.
Oh, goodness me. I mean, this is all in the past.
It's fascinating.
Can I just say, I can honestly say, and you know this, your children will not be interested in this. You are interested in it. Although you haven't looked at any of this for almost a decade, it's not going to happen, Steve, is it?
No, you're right. I don't think they will.
They're not, are they? It's you and your fantasy. They're not going to be interested.
The only way to make Steve see sense and to prevent Antonia from being driven mad is for me to take control. This requires some tough love.
On the skip, thank you. Keep charity.
Charity.
Yeah, thank you very much.
That's the second time you've given that away.
Curtain rings.
Yes.
You're never going to have curtains like these, are you?
Most of what we're throwing out are items that appear to be a half-hearted attempt to open a hardware store. But I found something of Steve's that could generate some cash.
This is a lovely drawing in a beautiful frame, but it's slightly damaged on one corner. Simple way around this is to take some black boot polish or black nail polish and just skim the surface there, and it'll be as good as new again.
We'll find out later what our valuer Tom thinks of the picture. There's just time to finish separating out the last of the stuff and for some difficult choices to be made.
That's for sale.
This is for sale?
It's taken them 3 hours, but our storage hoarders have finally sorted out the trash from their stash. The next step is to find out the value of everything in their sell pile. Coming up, we discover how much their treasures are worth.
Surely the China's worth a few quid, isn't it?
Do you mean the reproduction blue and white china?
No.
Yeah.
We find out if Steve's items have any value at all.
I've looked around, it didn't take long, believe it or not.
No. And things don't go to plan at auction. Welcome back to Storage Hoarders. I'm in Bridgewater, where I'm helping 2 stashers sort through their units so they can finally say goodbye to their storage hoarding habits. It's now time to catch up with Sir Ben Slade.
What a load of old junk.
He spent thousands of pounds storing a mixture of bric-a-brac and broken chairs he could no longer fit into his stately home. I've called in our antiques expert Tom Keane. With years of experience, I'm hoping he can unearth some hidden gems in Sir Ben's sell pile. But are all his items window dressing?
It's not all good news, I'm afraid. Where did you buy the cannons from?
I don't know, they just turned up. Maybe the Napoleonic Wars, I don't know.
Yes? Well, I think a bit after that, they're all reproductions.
No.
Every single one of them has got a seam down the side here. There's an instant indication they're copies.
What am I going to do?
This is not good news for Sir Ben. He's clearly disappointed about the cannons, and it's the same story for the fountains.
Now, you've got 2 cast iron fountains over there as well. Both copies.
No.
Yeah. Made in China.
Well, don't look new to me.
Well, trust me, I'm an expert, as they say.
Surely the China's worth a few quid, isn't it?
Do you mean the reproduction blue and white china?
It can't be. It's Ming Dynasty or something, I know.
Is it?
Yeah.
The glazes are wrong and not very valuable.
Not how
30,
valuable?
40 pounds a plate, if
Is
you're
that all?
lucky. That's all. That's all.
Can we have a look at that
The
box
paper mache
there?
box, yeah, of course we can. There is how you used to it. And it's got a nice watercolour paint on the inside. Chinese, obviously. Sort of 1900, 1920 is the date of it. But it's got a big split down the middle. 60 or 80 pounds on this.
That's mad.
That's ridiculous.
It goes to show condition is everything. I'm getting worried. Are there any items of value here?
These ships' portraits were sort of jobbing artists. Some good artists as well will be commissioned by the captains of ships. A pair of those should make £400-500 for the pair, £600 on a good day. And you've got another one down the back as well. It's a bit later, that one, but as well painted. Another sort of £150-200, £250 top whack for that.
At last, some serious money to be made from the paintings. And although many of Sir Ben's items are reproduction, they're still worth a few pounds. Tom wants to take the cannons to auction and estimates the French pair at £400 to £600. He also estimates the small cannon at £150 to £200. The reproduction china at £40 a plate, the Chinese watercolour in the artist's box at £40 to £50, the fountains at £300 to £400 each, and the prize of Sir Ben's items, the pair of ship's portraits, estimated at £500 to £600 each, with a third estimated at £250 to £350. Finally, there's the question of what to do with Sir Ben's collection of troughs.
What about my troughs?
Your troughs. Do you know what? I think your troughs are interesting. I'm not too sure about the age. I think they've got some age and they're nice hand carved, aren't they? I'm not a specialist on architectural antiques, but I'm sure we can find someone who is.
Tom wants Sir Ben to get the best price for his garden ornaments and is taking him to meet James Dash at Glastonbury Reclamation.
A reclamation yard is basically a shop stroke yard that sells mainly reclaimed building materials, sort of old bricks, fireplaces as well to put in your house.
The yard is crammed with the remains of the architectural heritage of the southwest of England. Perhaps it could be the temporary new home for Sir Ben's troughs and gargoyles.
We're really interested if you can tell us anything about the history of these items in front of us.
The thing with a trough, to a certain degree, it doesn't actually matter how old it is. It matters what it looks like. Because whoever buys it is going to put it in their garden, probably put flowers in it. Its appearance is the critical thing, not necessarily its age. Mm-hmm. So you just...
You sell it on decorative value only then?
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it's 100 years old or 300 years old, it wouldn't change the value of it.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're moving away from those for a second. What about the beasts? When I first looked, I thought all Chinese. Now I looked again, I think, no, Indian.
Yeah,
Indian.
I would definitely say Indian.
Indian and carved in the last 30 years?
Carved possibly in the last couple of years.
Yes?
Yeah. But you can't find genuine English things like this anymore because they're all on churches and cathedrals. So if you want a feature on your property, you have to buy the next best thing, which is the new carved ones, which are mainly all carved in India. For the pair of gargoyles, we'd pay £100 the pair.
I'm going to sit down.
I can't get out of bed for 100 quid. Can't even pay the petrol gam here.
James, I hope you're busy better on the other these two here.
Well, if we were to buy it, and again, working on the doubling up principle, what we could sell it for, we'd be paying 110.
110?
Yes.
And that one?
That one, the absolute best we pay on that is 140.
God, it's hard down the West Country, isn't it? It's hard money down the West Country. So basically, you're talking £250 for those two?
Yes.
Upper freckle. I'm
going to step back.
I've got to have some running money.
I'm not a middleman,
right.
but I'm going to...
The absolute best we can do is 400. If you wanted any more, I would politely say no.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
And on you go. That's the way to do it.
I'm absolutely mortified that I haven't got enough money, and it's very distressing, really. I could do with a bit more dosh at the moment.
That's what we want as well. Selling the troughs and gargoyles has generated £400. Let's hope we can make even more dosh at auction. We've descended on Chiswick Auctions in London to help Sir Ben generate even more cash towards the upkeep of his stately home. I hear that your stash is already a little bit lighter, is this right?
Yes, it certainly is. We got rid of a bit.
What have you got rid of?
Some troughs.
Oh, they've gone?
Yeah, they've gone.
Brilliant. Now, I know you have reserves on all of your items, and they're fairly high reserves. Why have you put such high reserves there?
I don't consider they are high. I have researched the subject, and that's the money I've got to receive, and I need to pay my bills, and so that's it, you know.
Well, we just have to wait and see, won't we? Yeah. Going against Tom's advice and raising reserves on the auction items could have a massive effect on the sale. Let's find out what today's auctioneer thinks.
We have, in some cases, got a few problems with estimates, and we have got a few increased reserves, which therefore mean that the estimates are increased as well. The problem with increased estimates is that if they're disproportionately expensive, it may put people off bidding, but we'll just have to hope that some of those things are sufficiently good quality that we don't have a problem.
The first item is about to go under the hammer. It's the 3 reproduction Chinese plates that Tom originally estimated at £40 per plate. The new estimate is £600 to £800, with a reserve of £400 for all 3.
What's it worth? Start me £300 for the lot. 300, 320, 340, 360 anywhere. At £340, not quite enough, I'm afraid.
The plates did have a lot of interest, but didn't meet Sir Ben's reserve, and I'm afraid it's a similar story with the Chinese terrines.
Again, not quite enough, I'm afraid.
Perhaps we'll have better luck with the Chinese watercolour box. Tom estimated this at £40 to £50, but this has been increased at auction to £400 to £500.
£340 for this lot at 340. Not enough, I'm afraid.
Benjamin. £340 would have been such a good price without Sir Ben's reserve. And he also has a reserve on the pair of French cannons. Tom estimated them at £400 to £600.
Now, I'm sure everyone's after the cannons. There's going to be a lot of competition there, I'm sure.
Where should we start these? Couple of £100 to start me. 200, 220, 240, 260, 280. Maybe. 280 for the cannons. At £280, 300 I'll take. 280 then. Sorry,
it's
not
enough,
sold.
is it? Oh dear, the cannons haven't sold, and it's the same story with the others which don't meet Ben's inflated reserves.
Sorry, not sold.
Not sold.
It's worth more out for scrap.
But I do have high hopes for the pair of ship's portraits. However, once again, they have a new estimate of £5,000 to £6,000.
A lot of interest in these.
Right.
I'm bid straight off.
Come on.
2,600, 2,700, 2,800, 2,900, 3,000, 3,001, 3,002, 3,003, 3,300, 3,300. I'm afraid it's not quite enough. £3,300.
Benjamin, it's not great so far, is it? What are you thinking?
I don't know.
This is terrible, and his third painting doesn't sell either. In fact, nothing's been sold so far, despite a lot of interest. Finally, the fountains. The green painted figure is estimated at £150 to £200.
Reserve 200. Let's see.
You'll be pleased to know I've already got some interest in this. I'm straight in at £190.
OK, well, that's a good start, isn't it?
210.
At long
20,
last,
230.
Ben, at long last, something's gone above its reserve.
At £230, you all done and finished. 230.
May I congratulate you, Ben?
I'm very glad I haven't got to drag it home.
That's true.
Well, at least Sir Ben can smile at last. Let's hope his other fountain does just as well.
210, 220, 230, 240, 250, 250 there. £250.
At last, Ben has sold something. The fountains went for £230 and £250.
So, Ben, all in all, what's the verdict?
Well, I'll have to find something else to sell.
So after commission, Sir Ben made £441.60 at auction, plus £400 for the sale of his troughs at the salvage yard, making a grand total of £841.60. Unfortunately, he hasn't made much of a dent in his annual storage costs, but if he were to close his unit, he'd be better off to the tune of £3,796.
So what's happened to all your storage units?
Well, I'm going to try and reduce them somehow.
Somehow. Is there any plan here at all, Sharon?
I'm going to try and make him sell the stuff again, put a low reserve on, take it to another auction.
Please, one thing, promise me, don't buy any more. Will he listen to you?
Yeah, eventually.
I do hope Ben listens and curbs his spending ways. Coming up, have years of Steve's hoarding paid off?
Is there anything that you can see of value here?
You're laughing as you say, Aggie.
I'm not sure there is.
And will Steve say goodbye to some childhood memories?
£30 for the transporter. Anybody else want to come in?
Welcome back to Storage Hoarders. Earlier we met Sir Ben, who, after raising the reserves of his items against professional advice, sold only 2 items at auction.
Not enough, I'm afraid. Not quite enough, I'm afraid. Sorry, not sold.
Not great so far, is it?
However, he still managed to make £441 at auction and reclaimed a tidy £400 for his garden ornaments. Next up is die-hard storage hoarder Steve Tomaseski. He's been hoarding for so long, he's got at least 2 of everything. His fiancée Antonia wants their family life to be clutter-free and has convinced him to sort his unit out so they can be storage-free forever.
That's it. We're done.
Expert Tom Keane has years of experience in spotting gems from the antiques world. Having had a good rummage through Steve's sell pile, has he discovered any items that could be worth a few bob at auction?
So, Tom, is there anything that you can see of value here?
You're laughing as you say, Aggie.
I'm not sure there is. I don't know whether you're wasting your time, but... Sorry, I didn't mean to offend, but is there?
I've looked around. It didn't take long, believe it or not.
No, no.
You've got some play-worn toys there. It's a boot sale lot. The boot sale lot, the little truck there, I'll show you it. In that condition, 20 or 30 pounds. So that's not too bad. Your pictures, really, they're worth the money for the frames. A few decorative items contained within them, but again, you know what I'm going to say. Car boot. Car boot. Car boot.
Unfortunately, Steve's prized possessions have very little value as auction pieces and would have more luck at a car boot. The only item Tom recommends for auction is a toy truck, estimated at 20 to 30 pounds. However, something of interest has caught Tom's eye. It's the picture I spotted earlier.
The Robert Oscar Lenkowitz drawing, died in 2002 of a heart attack suddenly. And I like his art, I like him as a man. His art is really constructed around vagrants and alcoholics. And he looked after them as well, so he was a good man too. And he was very, very popular down in Plymouth, where he lived. Every shop, marketplace you go into in Plymouth has got a Lenkowitz, and they all seem to hold them in pride of position. You've got the limited edition colour print of the artist, Lenkowitz there. Like I say, he's a local hero down in Plymouth. And it really all seems to be down the West Country now, but he's changing hands for big money.
Tom thinks there might be value in both the Lenkowitz pictures, and if the market for them is in the West Country, that's where they should head to find a buyer. So Tom is taking Steve and Antonia to a specialist gallery in Ilfracombe to meet Justin Easton. He's an authority on Lenkowitz paintings, drawings and prints. Perhaps he could tell them what the pictures could be worth.
I noticed you've got some portraits around. Do you collect a lot of his work?
We've been dealing with his work only since his passing, sort of 3 or 4 years. And of course, as is often the case, when these artists do pass away, then the demand and the price goes up considerably.
So, what's the most popular view of Lenkowitz? Is it his landscapes, his interior scenes, or the portraits?
Well, actually, as depicted in the print there behind you, self-portraits are definitely, because he was such a character, very almost sort of religious in image and look, and very intelligent and softly spoken. And so his self-portrait work, and in fact we have an original here as well, which I don't know if we can see, but that is what we find is the biggest demand on the market, certainly.
Robert Lenkowitz's work is extremely popular, and owning a piece could be lucrative. The most paid for one of his artworks was £80,000 in 2010. Not to be sniffed at. So, what are Steve's pieces worth?
So, guys, do you, by any chance, have any provenance or history on the purchase of these pieces?
Yes, I have some for both, and this is entitled Boy with Cigarette.
This is fantastic, because this actually, you know, not only have we got the purchase date there, it's signed by Robert, and we've got the price for £250. So that's rather special, and you would definitely want to look after that. So thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you.
Very good. It's always worth hanging on to receipts and provenance whenever you buy a picture, just in case the artist dies one day and you can make a few quid out of it.
Well, you're always speaking to a hoarder, so guess what?
Oh, there you
I
are.
kept it.
Good. You got any receipts for this one?
Yes. I don't actually have the purchase price receipt, but...
So this is a limited edition lithographic print here, which is a self-portrait of the man. They did an edition of 500 in the run. Signed, and I did some research online.
Get him out of the drums, it could be the moment.
I found that one sold in auction in 2011 for about £250.
Oh, you had 25,000 for a second. You took a deep breath. You went 250. Good.
I know, it's a little bit disappointing.
That's not bad as a matter of fact. I think it's good money for a print.
I think if we reframed it in a more sort of Lenkovich-esque frame and maybe a reglass as well, you could look at sort of retailing that piece in a gallery for closer to sort of 900 or something like that.
Are you interested in buying these?
I would be interested in buying the pair of them, more so the sketch than the print. But you know, I think if I went to auction today, I would happily spend £300 on the sketch and probably 200 on the print, and I'd happily give you £500 or £600 for the pair as they are.
So when you say £500 or £600, I mean, what sort
I'd go
of
to, given the nice framing on the sketch, I'd go to 650. But
how do you feel about that?
Stop there.
For me, I think we should keep them. But having said that, they're not my pictures. They belong to Steve, so.
I think it's something I have to think about because they weren't on the wall. I think this one would frighten the children. I like it. I need to sleep on it.
Is it okay to come back to you and say...
Please do, yeah. And if you have a price in mind, then by all means, let me know.
I thought that went well. I think that the pictures were valued at higher than we thought they would be. But again, I don't want to sell them. And I think in this situation, I might actually be the hoarder.
If you're going to invest in something, first and foremost, you buy it because you love the piece. It's going to enhance your life and your world. But secondly, it's nice to know that something is a good investment, and if it's an original piece, something that is well worked by an artist of some skill, then you know, you're more than likely going to do well out of that.
If the decision is to sell, then I think Justin's offer would be one that we'd look to negotiate.
It's great that Steve has a couple of options, an offer from the gallery, or he could take it to auction. Well, we're about to find out what he decided to do because it's auction time.
So here we are at auction. I'm dying to know if you've brought the Lenkovich drawings.
No, we haven't.
Oh.
We've decided to sell them to the gallery that we had the valuation from.
So can I ask how much for?
650 for the two.
That's a good price. You happy with that?
Yes. Well, would have liked more, obviously, but...
Because without saying me,
yes, but yeah, happy with that.
That's a good price, especially considering they have just one auction lot.
Have you got a reserve on it?
Yes, so we've put £30 reserve on it, so if it doesn't make that, then the kids get another toy to play with.
Yes. So do you think it might go for a lot more?
Tom seemed to think, as he put it, I think it's play-worn. So, obviously, there's always...
Bit scruffy, in other words.
There's always hope.
Let's hope there is, but first, let's find out what today's auctioneer, William Rouse, thinks.
Any collectibles, particularly relating to dinky toys and toys in general, which are boxed, are always collectible from that period, and there's always people here that want to buy them. And, well, let's just hope we have more than one bidder, in which case we'll pass the £10 mark and we'll get past £20 and £30 if we're lucky.
Well, here goes, fingers crossed.
So, transporter's just about to come up. Let's hope we make the reserve of 30, yeah? That's all it needs to get to.
Awesome more.
And then any more is a bonus, yeah?
Yep, exactly. Absolutely.
Lot 30A is a 1960s dinky super toys Meccano. I'm jolly pleased to say I'm straight in here with a left bid of £30. With me at £30, I'll take 32 somewhere else. At £30 for the transporter. Anybody else want to come in? With me then, it's a left bid of £30. I'm going to sell it.
It's sold for £30. That's what your reserve was. Happy?
The children won't be.
There's lots of other toys in that suitcase, weren't there?
There may have been.
Oh.
A not unexpected result. After commission, they've made £27.60 at auction for the toy vehicle. With the sale of the link of its artwork for £650, there's a grand total of £677.60. They haven't closed their storage unit, but if they did, they'd make an annual storage saving of £1,413.88.
What's happening to the unit?
There's a 6 to 9 month time frame to have it cleared.
You feeling optimistic about that?
Yeah, we've planned to do a car boot sale in the next few weeks to get some more of the stuff cleared that we plan to sell. So that will help. And obviously a bit longer, a few months down the line, would be to have no storage unit.
Tell me what you think about the whole experience you've had.
It's been a very interesting experience. And I've got to be reunited with some, long lost possessions, so.
Yes, reunited with long lost possessions that you are going to be able to let go of eventually, aren't you?
Absolutely, Helen. Absolutely.
Steve and Antonia have said they will empty their storage unit within the next 9 months, and you know what? I think they'll do it.
Not quite the success I'd have hoped for Sir Ben, but Steve and Antonia are well on their way to tackling their storage bills. Don't forget to join me, Aggie Mackenzie, next time on Storage Hoarders.
Click on screen for more videos of extraordinary humans.